So, it's Man United versus Copenhagen. Apparently, Copenhagen is more than just a Danish with custody. Welcome back to On The Bench with Faizal Brooks. In today's episode, we're going to discuss our last game against Lask, our game tonight against Copenhagen, and a couple of confirmed transfers. And stay tuned, we're going to discuss that right now. Pin drop. So welcome back to On The Bench. Like I said, in this week's episode, we're going to discuss our game against Lask, and without further ado, Ollie's decision to go with the B side for that team, we exposed a lot of things, and it was good for us to see. It was good for the board to see that we need more players in backup, and who we have as our so-called bench and our reserve and our second team and our B team, however you want to label it, is just not good enough. I mean, we played Lask at home and they came at us. It was going to be a difficult task for them anyway. They had to score 6 goals at Old Trafford, but they were willing to take us on. And our team that we put out, we just couldn't cope with them. We couldn't handle them. We couldn't manage them. We weren't creating chances the way we were supposed to create chances. And only until Ollie decided to make the changes that he made did we effectively see a United that we kind of gotten used to seeing over the past couple of weeks. And that saddens me, because I feel that people like Mata is a good player, but we can see he's past his prime. Pereira, maybe he can do it. Lingard was surprisingly the firecracker in the team for that night. Obviously he scored, which was a big deal for him and a lot of players out there. But you could see that the average and the general tempo around the game, it wasn't great. We were shaky at best, and for me that's unacceptable for a second. Even if you consider yourself a B team at United, it's still quite a prestigious position to be in. It's never something to be taken for granted. Because you worked your ass off to be there, and those players at this point in time didn't look like they had worked hard to be there. They looked like they're there for the paycheck. And that for me is unacceptable. Those spots are meant to be earned, not just to be paid for, and you're going to sit back and receive my fat £150,000 paycheck and why should I worry and stuff like that. Those are the people we need to get rid of. And we could see the game against that game against Lask exposed a lot of that one. We saw a lot of good things as well, not a lot, a few highlights of good things. But Ollie again had to go to what at that night was considered probably the most expensive bench in England, because then he had Bruno and Pogba and Rashi and Marshall and Greenwood, and his favourite, obviously, what we'd call the first team as support over there. When we brought some of them on, like Marshall, we see the difference they made. A little spark, a little initiative, go at the team, and then we scored our second goal, and then we won the game 2-1. I mean, they scored a banger of a goal to beat Romero. I don't think if it was the Gaya there, anybody was standing there, I don't think they were going to stop that ball. That guy put the ball away nicely. It was a good goal for them. But moving forward, we could see why the transfer window is important, man. We can see why it is important for United to be able to contend for next year, because if we're going to be sitting with the bench we're sitting on, which was effectively our first team against Lask, if you look at that as our bench, then we are in serious trouble. We need to contend. In order for us to contend, we're going to need players. So yes, finally we are here to confirm that Sancho is is no longer affiliated to the Manchester United Football Club. He is completely taken over and plays completely for Inter Milan, so he can definitely go. That's some good news. A quick update on Sancho. Borussia put the deadline for today, which is supposed to be the 10th, and he said, United have up until today to decide, and we all know United are not going to do that. They're never going to get bullied into a decision like that. And even though Borussia Dortmund, they definitely need They need the transfer money. I mean, that goes without saying. They just also experienced a lockdown and a COVID attack and all of that. So they definitely can do with 120 euros. I just don't think it's fair, really, that should be exploiting United to get it. I mean, Jadon Sancho is a beautiful player to watch. He is entertaining to watch and will definitely be a good addition to the Man United team. But really, at 120 euros, I don't care if you say like the speculation now or the news coming out of the transfer camp by the contacts that we watch and the news that we see is that they're going to do it in installments. Even so, it that doesn't change the point that they want us to pay 120 million euros for Sancho. We paid 65 million pounds for Bruno, like. And I know it's going to be controversial, but in my opinion, Bruno is still a better player than Sancho. But we're paying 120 million because we need and desperately need a right winger. Guys, I'm so conflicted with this. For me, in my opinion, I can't sit here and say that he is worth the 120 million that they're asking. You know, if we came in and said, we're going to get Jadon Sancho for 80 million, I'll jump out of this chair with joy, because that's where I feel his price tag should be around. Like 80 million, that's a fair amount. It's the same thing that happened to Jack Grealish, like 50 million pre-arranged or pre-spoken about, and we're happy with 50 million if Aston Villa leaves, gets relegated. And all of a sudden, another 70 million for the same guy, like the same guy that saved their buttocks to stay in the Premier League. It's almost like the minute United comes knocking, they know, push the price up. Push the price up. Here's United. Here's Ed Woodward again. Push the price up. Which for me is unfair. Like, everybody else is doing business. You hardly even hear the guys. You don't hear the noise. They're so under the radar. They don't get part of the hype. You'll just hear they're signing players. Timo Werner was signed. There wasn't much hype around it. Like. And for a fair price. Like Ziyech was signed at a fair price. So many clubs around United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City are buying and are signing players successfully. Like, they are doing so well in the transfer market, and we only opened a couple of weeks, but they knew what they were going out for. They knew already before the transfer market opened what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, who they're going to approach. In fact, most of the legwork has been done already, and all that needed to happen was a final signature on the page to close the deal. And now United want to start their hunt for players in the transfer window. It doesn't make any sense. In fact, it's very frustrating. But if you guys, tell me what you think. If you guys feel that Sancho is worth 120 million, put it in the comments. I would really, really, really like to hear if you guys feel he's worth 120 million euros. Because I'm struggling with it at this point in time. I just can't wrap my head around. And I've watched quite a bit about Sancho, obviously, since the rumor started. I tried to keep my eye on him as much as possible. And he's a good player to have. Like, he will be a good addition to our club. But gee whiz, why didn't we then offer Leipzig 80 million for Haaland? Like, that would have been a crazy buy. That would have been a buy that we would set the record books for. We would have paid his buy close to 60 million. We could have done that in a jiffy. Like, I can't sit here and say that Sancho is a better player than Haaland. For me, it's coming down to, again, Brexit United. Take Sancho. Here's the money for Sancho. He's a British player. All the hype. Oh, 120 million. Come on, man. Well, maybe time can tell. And maybe I'm just being doubting Thomas. Sorry, Mark. I don't mean anything by that. Thomas, you're great. I love you, man. But doubting Thomas, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I want to back it up. I want to enjoy the excitement. I want to see Sancho there. I want to see us have a formidable right-wing attack going, So let me not put too much of a damper on that. I think tonight's game is definitely going to be an important one. For us, and obviously for Copenhagen, the biscuit with custard in. I think they're a good team. I believe they came second in the league. That's an important achievement. They've got a couple of good players that can be dangerous and can attack us and hurt us, especially with Maguire and Lindelof being a little bit slow. But I do feel that tonight's game is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good game to watch. It's going to be a good fight for us. It's going to be, because at the end of the day, we're fighting for silverware. So are they. Like, I mean, yes, we've got Champions League already. I believe they also qualified now because they came second in their league. But nonetheless, it's going to be something that's going to be a good game to play for. But I don't think they're really a threat to take us out. And not with the lineup. I dropped the lineup prediction already. And I don't think with Bruno being there, Pogba being there, with Rashi and Tony and Greeny and anybody else with the E at the end playing, we will do well. I can't see us not doing well in this game. We will do well. We will win this game. Hence my score prediction of 2-0. In fact, Lyle already agreed with me there at 2-0. So it's important for us to do well in this game, especially considering how poorly we dealt with the last game. I mean, it was Lask and we beat him 5-0 before. Like, for us to be 1-0 down in Old Trafford just doesn't make any sense. Nonetheless, I think tonight we'll have a good performance. We'll see a good performance. We should brush them aside. I don't think they're going to be too dangerous. But obviously, as I said last week, the format of the competition has changed. So now it's no longer home and away. We get one chance to do it and we've got to do it right. Because obviously it's knockout. So when we win tonight, we then look forward to our next game. Now, a couple of things that we also obviously wanted to touch on was the fact that we might be playing Inter in the final according to our calculations. If everything works out well, we will be seeing Inter in the final. Now, I don't know who do you feel? I don't think we can get Wolves in the final. I think the best we can do against Wolves is in the semi-final. But we could get Inter Milan in the final because of their threat and our threat, and that's how we might meet. And I think it'll be a good game to watch, because I think at the end of the day, they're playing tonight. They're playing Bayern Leverkusen tonight. Bayern Leverkusen didn't qualify for Champions League, so tonight, setting Inter aside would be a good foot in the direction of Champions League for them, and I think they're going to be very determined to do it. Inter Milan have already qualified. I mean, they did well. They came second, 1 point behind Juventus. Well, that's something to say. 1 point behind Juventus. So they already neatly settled there for Champions League. So I don't know if they're going to come out and play too hard and really go for it. But at the end of the day, they're going to want to win silverware. Everybody in this competition is going to want to do it for the silverware because there's prize money involved as well. But I think for certain Inter Milan players, it would be a good time to kind of make a point. I feel that they're going to want to do. I'm not sure if we decided if it's going to be this year or maybe we should wait for next season and just see how things go. But we could eventually just turn the name into ex-United FC instead of Inter Milan FC. Because that's what it looks like at the moment, with Lukaku's being there and Sancho signing there and Ashley Young signing there. But nonetheless, they're going to want to prove a point against us. I think if they do meet us in the final, they're going to be, see, we weren't the problem kind of buzz. We can do better without you. No, United are better without you there. I must say that off the bat. But they've got a good team. They do play well. They are an exciting team to watch. But ultimately, the Italian league was always a very defensive league. And when you play in a defensive league, and we could see that in the World Cups as well, Italy itself was a very defensive team to play against. Like, they very rarely come at you. Like, they'll sit back, and that's the type of play that you experience when you play in that league. It's a much slower league. It's very much about tiki-taki build-up, as opposed to the English league where, you know, if you come out, I mean, look at Eric Bailly again with another head injury, guys, like a magnet. But yeah, that's the type of league that the English league is, and that's why it's so entertaining for us, because it's fast-paced, it's rough, it's hard, it's really leave everything on the pitch kind of game. Like. And Italy is very prim and proper, in my opinion, you know, play a gentleman's game type of bus, and that's why people like Ashley Young, on the latter end of his career, and Sanchez as well, and Lukaku as well, can do well. They can do well. They can do well in Italy. Because it's not as high-paced as the English Premier League. And so, even if they come with their agenda, what the South African used to be called back in the day. Even if they come with the agenda of proving a point, I don't think they're going to form much of a threat. If we meet him in the final, probably it'll be a good game to watch. It always will be. Excuse me, an Inter Milan Man United game is always going to be a good game to watch. Throw in the fact that they got half our squad that we rejected, just adds a little bit of spice to the situation. So that could be our trip to the final. Wolves, we could meet in the semi-final. Sorry, let me just have a sip of water again. It is water, still locked up. We could meet Wolves in the semi-final, or we could meet Seville in the semi-final. Now, either way, it's going to be a tough game for us, because we know what Wolves can bring. We've seen it a few times already. We know them well enough to know that they can bring it well and pose a threat. But in Seville, a crazy fact, this is their 6th time in the quarterfinals of the Europa League, in the Europa Cup, and the 5 other times that they reached this point, they won this competition. So they already there walking around with confidence and tall and are able to, or feel that they are the force to be reckoned with and one of the favourites. But then so is Inter, so is Bayern Leverkusen, and so is United. And I think with all these good teams, because there are good teams, with all these good teams in this competition, it's actually making it a very exciting competition to watch. So I'll definitely be glued to the TV later tonight, shouting, pass the ball, because that's how I watch it. My family don't agree with me, but that's how you watch football. But yes, leave your predictions after. I know I sent out the score prediction already. Thank you, Lau, for your quick response. It was very appreciated. Otherwise, we will see you guys again. Please like and share this video, and if you have not, now is no better time to subscribe. Do it, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.